Bring it back.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Car Mechanics Simulator. This week we have got a very strange one where we're doing an old BMW Isetta. So it's like an old single or two-seater little bubble car. It's an Italian made car, but they were built under license in a lot of different countries, including Germany, which is where sort of the BMW side of it comes in, even though it's an Italian car. Again, as I say, this is modded content, so things aren't always going to be perfect, but they're normally pretty good. Looking at it, I've redone all the suspension and stuff underneath. I've got a very basic suspension setup, nothing particularly interesting. The engine sort of fits in this little compartment in here. It's actually, in this model, it's a 3-cylinder. I'm going to assume this is an Isetta 600, which actually had a 2-cylinder motorbike engine, 600cc. So it's a little bigger than it should be, but it's still a tiny little engine, so it seems to suit it quite well. So, first things first, let's get the engine sorted, let's get it stripped down and start to get it rebuilt. So, we'll have a look what we've got to take it off. It's such a tiny little engine, this one. It shouldn't take us too long, it's only to say. It's an inline 3-cylinder engine. Pretty basic. Shouldn't be anything too complicated about it, hopefully. Take this off. I'm not entirely convinced in reality that it would have been a dual overhead cam, although you never know. Let's take the belt tensioner off, and then one of the auxiliary belts. There's just all the parts off under the timing gear, the water pumps, the alternator, and then the timing cover should be able to come off. And we should have a timing belt or timing chain underneath timing belt. There we go. 2 cam gears, and there's the crankshaft at the bottom. It certainly wouldn't have had fuel rails. I suspect it must have been had carbs for such a small, particularly given it was a motorbike engine originally. But it's just not a really small carb-fed engine in the game, so they just had to work with what the modders just had to work with what he's got. So let's take all these camshaft caps off, and then we can take these out. Quite a few of them because it's a dual overhead cam model. 2 to go. Okay, so let's pull those both out. So let's get the exhaust manifold off. And that will allow me to take the head off the engine. Like so. So the next thing is going to be to, just a little idle roller there I missed, take that off, is to pop out and now to spin the engine around to access it from the bottom. Oops, I did not mean to take it off the crane. Put it back onto the crane. So let's pull the oil pan off. And then underneath we've got the rod caps, and then take these 3 rod caps off, and then it should allow me to take the pistons and the piston rings out. And then there should be nothing but the clutch assembly and the crankshaft. So let's take those pistons out. Then just on the end there should be a small little clutch. Take the pressure plate off, and then the flywheel. Actual clutch plate as well, and the flywheel, and then the crankshaft. If I take the crankshaft caps off, will then drop out. Only 2. Voila, and then it should just be the get a little thermostat modelled into it. It's cool. Now it should pull out. Okay, so we've completely disassembled the engine, got it back down to all its base parts. So let's head over to the repair bench and try and repair as much as we can. Hopefully we don't break too many things, because then I don't have to spend quite so long in the shop buying everything. So assembly, start with the block. And we're starting upside down, so we'll put the crankshaft back in, then we can retain this. But I am going to have to buy the 3 pistons and piston rings, because unfortunately pistons do not repair in this game. So let's go to the shop. 3 pistons and 3 piston rings. While I'm here, I might as also get spark plugs. 3 of them. Just trying to think of things that aren't gonna repair. So this one, the clutch and the flywheel and some idle rollers. Get a couple of these each. They're not very expensive and they're just worth having anyway. We'll get some serpentine belts just in case as well, like so, and a crankshaft pulley is what I'm thinking. I'm not sure which one it was, so we'll just do both. Okay, so let's crack on. Let's get the pistons into the engine. So we'll drop in our 3 pistons with our piston rings, and then tie each one in with a rod cap as we put it in. Piston and piston ring, and the rod cap, and the same again. Okay, that means we can now put the oil pan back onto the bottom of the engine. We can now come out and rotate the whole assembly back round to being the right way up. So let's look at some of the smaller things. So we've got the engine head. So if we put the engine head back on and bolt this in, and then put the cams in, we can then set to work doing all the timing gear down the side. So let's put the 2 cams in, which are both repaired. So let's retain these. Ooh, so the camshaft caps haven't repaired, so I need 8 of them. See, as I say, I always forget something, and that's probably one word. 5, 3, 8 of them. So I hope you've genuinely been enjoying the channel so far, guys. I'm pretty pleased with the way it's been going. As of this video, I think I'm up to 42 subscribers, which I'm absolutely thrilled with. It's been going better than I thought it was going to. If you do enjoy these videos and you're not subscribed, really appreciate it if you can. It really does help. It certainly makes my day a lot better. I love it when I get a subscriber. And I'm going to be doing more content like this, more car mechanic content, and I also do sort of a few sort of history type games, just because it's just something I'm interested in, which is something you may also enjoy as well, so feel free to check them out if it's something of interest to you. So back to this, we have got the cams now in, so I'm now going to deal with all the timing parts. So I'm going to need to get 2 new cam gears, because that is something else I have forgotten. So we've got that, so let's come back around to the side, go back into part mode and mount the 2 new cam gears. This should then allow me to mount the serpentine belt, this is effectively the timing belt. Put the timing cover back onto the engine, and then we should have the various auxiliary parts. So the crankshaft pulley can be bolted on, a couple of idle rollers. I didn't get a belt tensioner, I've just realised that already. We bolt them on, and we've got a water pump, obviously fairly important for cooling the engine, an alternator. I'm not entirely sure if it would have been an alternator or something like a dynamo in reality. And then we can stick the sort of the auxiliary belt on there. So a belt tensioner is something I need to buy because I forgot to get one. Just buy one of them. And drop that into place. So let's have a look what's still missing. We are still missing the exhaust manifold, the intake manifold, the throttle body, the engine cover. So let's do that first. That's a nice easy one. Then we'll drop in the 3 spark plugs for each cylinder. And the ignition coils on each one. So exhaust manifold can just be tied in like so. I'm not sure if this thermostat repaired. it did. So you can stick the thermostat back in at the bottom. It's the first engine in this game I've seen with a modelled thermostat, which is pretty cool. I'm quite impressed with that. We've still got the clutch assembly to do, an oil filter which I haven't yet brought. Stick the intake manifold on and get this bolted in, and there should be a throttle body on the end. Yes, get that bolted on, and then just unfortunately slightly inaccurate fuel rail, which I don't think should be there. So let's just quickly pop out and grab an oil filter. There we go, $35. And then mount that onto the engine. So let's just quickly do the clutch assembly, which I think I brought everything earlier, so we should be good. Yes, we are. Bolt the plates on, and there should be the release bearing just on the end, which I can't quite see through the engine block. So I think that is everything mounted back onto the engine, hopefully. So let's take this engine off the stand now. Then using the engine crane, we are going to install it into that little cubby hole at the side of the car. In here, look, if I have to crouch down, you can see it just fits in there nice and tight. Can I mount the starter motor on yet? No, I can't. So let's go out and raise this car up. As you'll see, as I say, modded content, some things don't quite work. Like, because this is such a small car, the actual car lift isn't designed for something so small, so it's actually kind of hovering. But that's just because the car is so much smaller than anything the game developers expected to be in the game, it just doesn't quite fit properly. So I need to buy a gearbox and a front exhaust section. So front exhaust. Front exhaust section. I'm not sure if it could be like that. There doesn't appear to be a front exhaust section B. Maybe that, or maybe that. So we'll just get one of each, so we don't spend ages trying to figure it out. And I didn't get, no, I don't want part notes. I forgot to get the gearbox, so let's quickly buy a gearbox from the shop. Gearbox, I think it's a tiny little gearbox. Let's get this stuff mounted on. Retaining box with the gearbox. It's a little exhaust connecting to the manifold. Awesome. So we just got to lower this back down and buy a new starter motor. Unless, well, it'll be quite an easy car to bump start, but that's not quite what we're planning on doing. So we go stick the starter motor in it, get that bolted back into place, and we're good. So let's raise this back up. Get the four wheels on the car. Surprisingly, it is a four-wheeled car, even though if we look at the rear differential, it is tiny and these wheels are very close together. If you'll notice, I'm having to use slightly not perfect tyres. I managed to get good rims, but I can't get, for some reason, 10-inch little tiny tyres that this car takes. So I'm having to make use of the old ones, which is unfortunate, but at least the rims look nice and shiny. No items to work with. No, why is it? But there just is. Okay. What's going on here? Did I take it back out of... Ah, I forgot to put a tyre on the wheel balancer. There we go. Bit of a failure there on my part there, guys, sorry. So yes, as you can see, the two front wheels are sort of at the edges of the car, which gives it quite this large inner cockpit. But then at the back, it's got some pretty tight-in little wheels being powered by the engine. I suspect this is going to be a pretty unstable little car to drive when we take it around the track. Hopefully we won't tip over, but I think there's always that risk. So let's stick the left front wheel back on. Then we can get this thing into the get the bodywork on, and then we can get this thing into the paint shop. Okay, so let's slow this down and get into the bodywork mode. The bodywork's pretty much all sorted in terms of rust and everything. I've not got anything to worry about there, so it's just a case of assembling it all back together, like so. Got the headlights, door mirrors, the front indicator bulbs, little grille, and then the headlight on the other side. Do all the little things. It's also a few interior bits I've got to put it back in, like the bench, which is a seat. The little panel for the engine with the little vent to keep it cool. So let's just pop that to normal mode. Why is the door not opening? Let's just move the car to the garage entrance. I think it's just bugging out a little bit on the ramp there. There we go, open it up. Go to assembly mode. So I've got the front bench to stick in. No seat belts at all, I don't think. Absolutely no passenger safety. And that should be pretty much the car put back together. Just have a quick walk round. Oh, front license plate. I forgot this on the Civic, so let's put these back on this. There we go. And I think that is everything else on the car. I've got all the windows in, all the panels are on. So let's just go and quickly bung this thing to the paint shop, see if there's anything we would like to change. Although frankly, I quite like it anyway, so I don't think I will. Move car, paint shop. Yeah, I pretty like the colour of the car anyway, so I don't think we're going to change it. We'll just have a quick look, make sure there's nothing really cool before we hit the track. No, so there's no liveries. So no, I think I'm going to keep the car the colour as it is. It's quite a nice, I like this sort of blue and white sort of cross colouring. It's very 1950s, which the car is. I think they sort of made them sort of mid to late 50s. I haven't put any oil in the engine. Sorry about that, guys. I always forget something. Pull that panel off. Where is it? There it is. Oh, we didn't replace the fuel tank either. Not doing very well at all there. Let's get that nicely filled up. Come back out. Bung the panel back on. Let's just move normal mode. Move the car back to the garage front in case I've forgotten anything else to put on the car. Oops. Then let's go and take it for a spin around the track. So, diddy little thing. Hit the racetrack. So let's try and get around this track without toppling over. That'll always be good, but no guarantees. I don't expect it to be tremendously fast since it's only a 300 or 600cc engine. And we're off. Well, it's fairly fast. Oh, actually extremely twitchy. Wow, this thing is not the most friendly to drive car. Oh dear. It doesn't help that I'm trying to use a keyboard to drive here. But it's actually quite a bit quicker than I expected this thing to be in this game. Probably doesn't weigh anything, I don't suppose. Oh. Well, since that gives it a nice little front view, we shall leave it at that. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. It's certainly been a bit different to the normal sort of videos we're doing, but I've enjoyed making it. If you have, please like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Thanks, guys, and I shall see you on the next one.